What's going on, party people? Robert Jenkins here, coming to you with the latest episode of the North Star Podcast. You know, this whole podcast is talking about freedom. It's talking about freedom of expression, freedom of economics. I mean, we deal with freedom, and I try to put principles over politics. So today in studio, I happen to have three young men who actually go to my church. That's New Life Fellowship International Ministries. If you want to know what church that is, headed up by Bishop Abraham Shanklin Jr.
Yes, sir.
Come check it out because we be doing that thing called Life Together.
Yes,
so
sir.
If y'all wanna come to a real cool place, man, where they know what they talking about, where we grow in rows, we grow in circles, but not in rows, because you can't just sit down and be looking up at the pastor, whoever talking on stage. To grow, you got to do life together. You got to grow in a circle. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta be active.
Got to be active. Yeah. So I asked these young men about a month ago, I guess, almost a month ago, to come on.
Wow.
We was at this little poetry deal that they had put on. This the next gen, the men of next gen, and I threw out an open invitation to come on the show. And of course, I knew it would probably be these 3 or 4 young men that would come on, because that's just the kind of cats they are. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm going to start at the end of the table and come back this way. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And what we're going to do is run down some questions related to freedom, related to faith, related to, I don't know, just whatever comes up, to be honest with you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Introduce yourself.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Timothy Fielder. I would say where I grew up, but I'm kind of grew up in a military family, so I moved all around. So, I mean, I got lots of different experiences from a lot of different places. And that's pretty cool.
So where are some of the places you grew up though? Cali, you say you from Marysville, California?
Yes, I grew up. I was born in California. I was only there for when I was a baby, 3 years. And then I moved to Texas, Louisiana, which is where my sister was born. Alabama, England, Guam, Georgia, all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. We're in Texas, San Antonio?
Near San Antonio, but it's actually a really small town called San Angelo.
Oh yeah, I was stationed in San Angelo. Yeah.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I kind of my grandpa was stationed in San Angelo too.
Oh yeah, there's a military base there. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So anyway, Destin, please
man.
introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sir. Destin Dorsey. To be honest with you, I'm just a person who love living life and just meeting people. And I'm from Maryland, Annapolis, Maryland. And from there, it's like a diverse type of, environment. So I grew up with a lot of blacks. I grew up with a lot of whites. I grew up with a lot of, multi-race group of people. So yeah, for the most part, man, I just love hanging with people and just enjoying life together, like you were saying.
Cool. What's up with the Navy hat? You in the Navy?
Oh,
you going to the Navy? No, I'm not like that, but I'm saying you representing. You about to go? Somebody in there?
That's good. Bad hair day now. But my father, so funny. No, so funny. I did not even recognize this, actually, how all this going to come together. But my father used to work at the Naval Academy. And there he man, another person who loved people and just loved just fellowshipping and just talking to people. So yeah, this is actually his hat. So low key, I'm representing my father with this hat. So he always wear hats too. So you'll never see him without a hat. So yeah.
You know what? I started my little thing about wearing hats, and since I done retired from the Air Force and grew my beard out, it's all gray. I was all sad. But then I was like, I need to start. I miss wearing hats, because in the military you always have them on cover when you're outdoors and stuff. And I feel like men always wear hats. Your hat is your rank and your station in life. You know what I'm saying? You was rocking that hat this time too.
Yeah.
But the only thing, man, I be wanting to rock it at church, but it's kind of pointless, because
you're gonna wear it outside.
All you can do is walk 18 steps, and then take it off. You know
right. I said that before. Yeah.
It's like, oh well. Keith, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Keith Fielder. I go by KJ. And I'm the country boy of the crew. I'm from a small town called Haines City, Florida. So,
man, I thought you was from real South.
Nah,
South Carolina or something. From Florida.
Where I'm from, it's not even really country. I just talk this way. But where I'm from, it's like he says, multicultural. I grew up with whites, Mexicans, Haitians, Jamaicans, everybody I grew up with. So, and because my cousin's a military child, I've been pretty well traveled. So I had the opportunity to go to many different states. So that's how I made my way here to Maryland, because they got an apartment, so I decided to come try something new and live with him and CJ.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's how I made it here.
Cool. So, since this whole podcast is about freedom,
Amen.
and that's why it's called a North Star podcast. Y'all familiar with that? The
Yes,
North Star?
sir. Yes, sir.
I watched your show and learned about it.
Oh, okay. Well, boom. Don't say I never thought you. No. But anyway, so it's being about freedom. I'm gonna open up with that question. I want to go down the table. Matter of fact, we can start from this end first. Keith, what is your definition of? People say freedom. I like to say liberty.
Liberty.
Yeah.
I just learned that liberty and freedom is almost the same thing. I
It's
didn't know that. Similar.
I mean, I guess it is the same thing. I just feel like
Liberty sounds nice.
yeah.
But to me, freedom or liberty is the being able to do what you want to do, but it's always to a certain extent. It's not being, I guess, chained down or tied down. You can decide to do what you want to do within the laws. That's what it is to me.
That's good. One thing about liberty that always stepped in my mind or stuck in my mind was in New York, you think about the Statue of Liberty, and that was like a symbol of freedom that we have in America. And I always think of it like, okay, what did that really represent during that time? And to me, I just think it was just like a mindset. Like you come in here with a mindset, like you are able and you have the right to do what you please. And so I just think it's just that part of like a human's right to do what they please. But at the same time, I feel like people abuse that right to do what they please. And they kind of like take it to another level than what it should be.
Right.
All right, when I hear freedom and liberty, I think of like the way I would describe it is like the ability to gain knowledge and to use that knowledge how you see fit. Like essentially, like if a businessman like learns of a new like thing, he can either choose to like use it to make money off of it or use it for himself or really anything like that. So that's my way of thinking how freedom is. It's like the gaining of knowledge and being able to apply it however you see fit. Sometimes that could result in some bad things happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes knowledge can be manipulative. So, I mean, that is like a cautionary thing, which is why we have government who not necessarily takes away freedom, but I mean, they like regulate really what can be done with that, in my opinion. So, I mean, unless you want like true anarchy. I mean,
Right, you don't do all that.
Yeah. Now I have to confess. So my definition is pretty similar because I mean it's kind of one definition and you can vary it up a little along the same theme or whatever. But my personal definition of liberty is the condition of being able to, I'll say, dispose of or do whatever you want to do with your property in the way you see fit. And the key about this is property, private property. The first and most important form of private property is yourself.
That's
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? You own yourself.
Yeah.
So when you can dispose of yourself, your mind, your body, your soul, the way you want to, anything that you freely acquire, whether it's property, other property, whether it's raw materials, you make something out of that, that becomes your property. You can dispose of that how you want to do it. And you said without dipping into anarchy. Yeah. And I have to confess, I am so far along the road. I'm borderline anarchist. It's called anarcho-capitalist is what it is. And it's like, I feel like that there should be almost no restrictions on the individual.
Oh, wow.
Because those restrictions, let me clarify, almost no restrictions, meaning you can do what you want as long as you're not hurting anybody else.
That's what I think. That's what I think
Not
also.
stealing anybody else's stuff. You're not,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you cool with people hurting themselves. So let's say they want to do drugs. As long as they're not bothering nobody, you cool with that.
I mean, what about euthanasia? I mean, that's a thing that, I mean, mercy killing and stuff. That is your body. You can essentially do with it what you please, is what you're saying. It's just, I don't know. Some people would disagree with, I mean, allowing people to euthanize themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. What you think they should or shouldn't?
I don't know. I'm not completely decided on that. That's the thing that I like to pose to people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you think about euthanasia, Destin?
I mean, I will say this. Look, I'm like you said, I'm a person who believe in free will. Do what you feel is best for quote unquote you. But just know that people will be affected.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key part, being aware of the people who are going to be affected.
Keith? What's your take on that?
For the euthanasia?
For the whole euthanasia thing.
And what is that exactly when you...
It is when you ask a doctor to mercy kill yourself.
Okay, that I thought.
Like, say for example, you got cancer.
Yeah.
You rather just
Or
die.
what if you just tired of living?
It's like so instead of killing yourself, somebody kill you.
You can kill yourself. Somebody else can kill you.
Somebody else can kill you.
Yeah.
Another word, suicide.
Yeah, it's a generally thought of as
Suicide with help.
assisted merciful suicide.
Yeah.
This question ain't even on the
Not
list.
on the list.
That's good. Though.
I'm like Tim. I'm undecided with it, but right now I'm gonna lean towards no, because life is something I thought we shouldn't be able to just take for ourselves. It's not our choice.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that should happen. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I might change tomorrow. I don't know. That's how I feel right now.
Right. I don't know, man. I personally feel like on the principle, because I say we deal with principles over politics.
That's
right?
true. That's good.
So the principle of the matter is, I think you own yourself. So therefore, you should be able to do whatever you want to do with your life. However, y'all have all touched on something that's key.
Yeah.
Which is, like, for example, I don't really just own my life.
Yeah.
I'm a family man.
Correct.
You're right.
My wife owns my life as well. You know what I'm saying? My kids have a piece of my life too.
Yeah.
And I really think, first of all, as a Christian,
That's a whole nother.
I think God gave us life.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
So if he gave us a gift
Correct.
like that,
He technically the owner.
and then, first of all, he
is-
technically owns it. And second of all, how you just gonna throw it back in his face like that? You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. I like it.
I'm like, dang, son.
Here you go. Your ribbon bow tie present. Here you go.
Yeah.
Right back to you.
Yeah, I don't want that. What you give me that for?
Yeah.
But at the same time, what if you are in such pain? What if it's cancer or something? And you just riddled with pain and stuff? What's the point of?
For me though, the thing is though, you never know the end result. So you might be in that moment feeling like death is better, but you don't know God might got a miracle or breakthrough for you in a couple of weeks or a couple of months or a year. So at that moment, death might be better, but you never know. What in the future you might be a testimony that can help other people. So I feel like it's not our choice to decide I want to die right now. That's why suicide not an option, because God might got work for you that's greater later, but you got to stick around to see. That's what I feel.
That's probably about right though. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
good.
You're gonna be suffering, but I mean, ultimately, I guess it is your decision. But also, I'm scared what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
If I do it,
Yeah.
what he gonna say? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, he gonna look at me and be like,
I mean, no, he gonna do that. He gonna do that.
Depart from me. I know you're not.
yeah, I don't know, but I hope he wouldn't. You know?
Yeah.
Weird enough, I got something else that's kind of on the same topic.
Okay.
I mean, another thing about like liberty and like knowledge and stuff is that if you come to like the knowledge that could really help a lot of people, then I mean, if you are the only one with that knowledge, is it your liberty to not share with people? Example, St. Jude's Children's Hospital, fantastic foundation. Whenever they find new information about how to cure cancer, they always openly share it, open source it with any other hospital that would want to use that for their own gain. And St. Jude's Children's Hospital does not charge their patients for come to their hospital, so they do research for essentially on people for free, and they give out their information for free. But on the other hand, people like the Martin Scarelli, I think, who patented the EpiPen.
Yeah.
He
Sells it.
He is the owner of that property and sells it, but
Crazy,
he marks up the price
Yeah.
like thousands of times how much it actually costs to sell. So he has the property to actually save people's life, but he chooses to, sell it for an egregious amount of money. So I mean, it's like the same thing. You're getting knowledge that can help people's lives, but they're using it in like their liberty in two different ways.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about that? You think that's bad or good or?
I look at it like once you have something, it goes back to what you're saying about free will. That's your right. That's your property. That's what you want to do with it. And then that's where it becomes, like I said before, the bad part of the situation, because now I can't judge how you feel about a certain situation because I'm saying I agree that you have free will. So how can I say, no, you're not using your free will right? Like how? That's like taking away your free will if I say you're not using it right, because now you don't have a decision on how you can use it. So
That's a good point. You can't tell somebody how to use their free will, or else it's no longer free will.
exactly.
That makes sense.
So it's like, because y'all may or may not know, but I consider myself more of a libertarian, and you know, I look at Democrats and Republicans as ridiculous. So we got
Agreed.
320 million people in this country, and we supposed to fall
out
into
of
two
two.
camps.
1 to 2 can.
God is good, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? But so in the libertarian circles, they have a whole big debate about intellectual property, and it's one of those things like I'm reading some pretty deep scholars, and I'm like, dang son, I gotta think about that for a minute. And one of the things they're saying is like, well, even I think it was Thomas Jefferson or George Washington once said, he's like, yo, of all things in nature, an idea is the least susceptible to being owned. So you cannot own an idea. That's the way, like when people invented radio, we think like, who was it, Edison or Marconi? When Marconi invented radio, at the same time overseas there was another dude that invented radio too.
Exactly. Oh wow,
he had nothing to do with it. They couldn't even communicate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you can't be like, oh, you stole my idea. It's like, nah. When the Wright brothers was learning how to fly, it was other dudes, Sikorsky and them, doing the same thing. So everybody was working and doing their own thing. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really own an idea, and that's where I would say, like with the EpiPen, for example. Okay, it's your idea, and you know, you got a product, but what if somebody else? I mean, they can study your product.
Yeah, exactly.
They can say, you know what? We'll just call this the antitoxin injector, or whatever.
Exactly. I like that.
And we'll mark it down and make it available.
Yep.
And if we can, we'll make it available free. But I totally agree. I'm a straight up capitalist. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
And the reason I say that is because
shouts out to the capitalizer.
Well, capitalism is. People, you know, nowadays, and I'm gonna ask y'all about this. Nowadays, it's kind of demonized, especially amongst millennials. Like,
correct, because people looking at socialism now.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that then. Since
unfortunately, I don't know that much about socialism.
He'll tell you about it.
Yeah. No, I don't want to do all the talking. Okay, well, let's go down and say then. What y'all think socialism is? So we have definition of liberty. What's the definition of socialism? What do you understand it to be?
Oh man!
Come on, college kids.
Don't do that.
You might have a better idea being, as a professional working man. You know what
you can go first.
But all y'all are working.
I just hear about socialism a lot when it's compared to capitalism, because people always talk about like, we're in a capitalist society. Wouldn't we be better in like a socialist society, like places in Europe? I don't exactly remember the places in Europe, but there's some that actually have a socialist government. And then, I mean, I just see it. I mean, the way I think of it is that money goes to like these like general population for like social projects, like in order to like better things, like free college, like trying to like make college free and trying to like make meals and things free for like the less fortunate, or for a lot of people and everyone less fortunate, which is different from communism, because like that's like everyone gets the same amount, whereas capitalism, it's however hard you work is what you get, whereas socialism, like you take like a lot of the cut from the money and you put it towards like
the lower,
or I don't know about the lower, but freeing up like other places like education and like feeding people and stuff like that. And that's my understanding about socialism. But that's as best as I can understand it.
Gotcha.
But basically, me, like you saying, look now, I believe that you should capitalize off of every and anything on this earth, because I believe that just takes a genius mind. Example will be, if I created a car and I know that this car is important to your life, I should be able to get rewarded for this. Point blank, period. So I look at it that way. I think that's why I said it's just so, when people abuse certain situations, it becomes bad. But when you use it the right way, it helps everybody around you. So if I am capitalizing off of this car, my family is also getting money off of my capitalization of something. So that's what I'm saying. So, but for I'm not mad at socialism, but I mean, I'm not mad at that idea. But just at the end of the day, we have to be mindful of you could actually help that school as well with your businesses and whatever you capitalize off of. But I just think people don't want to do that part. They just want to be just something easily received, something easily received. But yeah, I just think it's that case.
I think it sounds good in theory, but when you really get down to it, it doesn't really work.
Why not?
Because I think it's like when you just kind of just give people stuff like, say, so college too expensive, so we let everybody go to college. It sounds good, but when something is given to people, it's not going to mean as much to them. And two, it's just giving people stuff, I feel like it's not as good. It's better to teach them something for they can actually like know how to do it for themselves and learn than just giving it to them. I feel like it's better just when you got to actually do it, learn how to do it yourself. I think that's better.
Yeah, that's. I think all of y'all you got some pretty deep insights into it. And one of the things that bothers me is like I don't think they throw socialism out there. I just did an episode. Matter of fact, I think it was my last episode, saying basically Christians can't be socialists.
Yeah.
And I think I'm pretty solid ground with that too. I'd be willing to. I debate a college professor on it. Like, let's go, son. You know what I'm saying? You want something? Let's get something. But like, first of all, I think the simplest definition of socialism is. So it used to be different things. It used to be the government owns all the means of production. That was back in the 20s and 30s and stuff like that. And communism, to me, as far as I can tell, it really is just more socialism. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Socialism is kind of like communism light, but they both brothers or cousins or whatever.
Yeah. You know,
And yeah. So when I reading up on it and stuff, the real definition nowadays, democratic socialism, the way we use it, is it's redistribution of wealth. We think there's poor people, and this is why Christians think, well, we could do that because Jesus was like, you give to the needy, you help those that are less fortunate. But like I was saying on the previous episode, that's episode number 16, I believe, if y'all want to check that out. But the key differentiation is this. Socialism involves what the real definition, I guess, the simple definition is substituting government plans for individual plans. The forceful substitution,
Forceful, that's the thing.
of government plans. And they say for individual plans, but I like to drive it for your plans.
That makes sense.
You think you want to go to college and be an engineer, but in a true socialist economy, they'll be like, nah, the economy's already planned out. We got enough engineers. We need plumbers. And you like, I don't want to be a plumber. They don't make no money.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Actually, they do.
They do make money.
They do make a lot of money.
Plumbers was a
yeah.
They do like
6 figures, I heard.
Yes.
Trade jobs are getting good.
Yep. I was gonna say, man, that's a whole other
Trade
jobs.
That's a whole other different thing.
Remind me. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Okay. But back on this socialism/communism. To me, the reason I think that's one of the biggest problems facing the country today is the fact that we don't have any faith in ourselves anymore.
That's good. That's really good.
Oh.
Well, we're one of the most successful countries that has ever existed.
Yes.
Period. You know what I'm saying? And the reason we got that way is because capitalism. Now, capitalism is not perfect.
Exactly.
There's crazy, excesses and stuff like that, and there's a big gap between. But guess what? That same gap is true in socialism.
Indeed.
You look at any socialist country. Where is that at? I think I put my books up already. But I had Langston Hughes, the Big C.
Love Langston Hughes.
That's my boy. Me and him used to kick
All
it.
alone.
Not really, but I ain't that old. I feel like we know each other though. You know what I'm saying? Read all his books and stuff. And anyway, when he traveled the world in the Big C, he was one of his memoirs, and he was talking about all these socialist countries. Everybody was equally miserable.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Equally miserable.
So except for
miserable.
the leadership, the party leadership. They super wealthy. Everybody else, there's no middle class. There's no us.
You can't have middle class.
No, there's super wealthy and peons.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I mean, that happens in capitalism to some extent, but at least what capitalism does, it allows the middle class to expand.
Yeah. Like you said, you should be able to capitalize off of your knowledge and what you have. So, like you said, that jump. But put it away. I know this is a interesting way of putting it, but we are in a free state. We are in a free country. We are in a free place where our ideas will not be shunned as much as people might be like, oh, I'm black, so my idea might not, rise as fast as I want it. But if you are in a poor situation, you do have a right to be rich or be wealthy. And I think a lot of times, like you said, people do not want to be full on with their ideas and full on what their creativity can allow them to be. Because I've seen poor people become wealthy. If you know what I mean, just point blank period, because of what they have in them, what they say, I'm going to put my energy and focus on to what I created or what I invest in. So I just think a lot of times people want to use that as an outlet. It's like, I don't want to bash anybody else's ideas, so we all can be on this, even playing field. I don't want to feel like I'm less than or I'm more than, so let's be on this, equal playing field, instead of saying, you know what, let me actually go far as I can and help the people behind me as well with it. But I just think people don't look at it as me improving myself so other people can be helped as well.
I feel like I was one of the things I mentioned in that last podcast is as far as I can tell, when I look at history, I look at how society and the world moves forward. It's always individuals.
Yeah. It is always individuals.
Yep.
Like simple examples, like we was talking about the Wright brothers earlier.
Yeah.
How did we get planes?
Yeah,
It wasn't the government saying, "Hey, somebody out there build planes now." It was the Wright brothers like, birds' wings are built like this, and I wonder if I make something like this.
Really
Put
had the
a
same effect. Yeah.
bicycle chain on this motor because they made bicycles. So they had a bicycle shop. Now we got planes.
Yeah.
Amen, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It was some dude. Who made penicillin?
That's a very good question.
Jenner, Lister, one of those guys. I think it was Jenner. Don't quote me on that, but like the cat that made penicillin. He was looking at mold on bread.
Yeah. Yeah. I do remember. I know about that.
Looked at it under the microscope, did something with it, noticed if he did this, it don't do that, and put 2 and 2 together. Next thing you know, let me put some of this on. Oh, look at that. It cures you.
Wow. Yep.
No government did that.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
People
Someone's
testing
creative.
stuff.
Yep.
That's part of the problem with communism, because when no one's motivated to do something better, then they don't. I mean, like if they're not going, if finding a new idea is not going to get them more money or bigger or better in life, then there's no reason to really do it.
No reason to do it. Yeah.
Right. You just hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of scholars have identified that, and I was just reading last night. Every night before I go to bed, I try to read a chapter. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it'd be Monster Hunters International. You got to relax sometimes.
Still reading.
Other times it'd be The Road to Serfdom by F.A. Hayek. You know what I'm saying? So a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying?
Diverse.
So I'm reading last night, and they was talking about just that very thing in the colonies in this country when the Pilgrims and them came over. They had a rough time. Y'all know it was starvation, and one of the reasons it was starvation is because the whole charter was a socialist construct. So it was like, y'all work, we all colonists, right? Y'all work and put everything into this communal pot, the socialistic community pot, and that goes back to I forget what it's called, the charter company that sent them over here, something of England. They get the profits off that, and then we give y'all a little bit out of that.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that's why they were starving, because people was like, well, I ain't finna just.
I'm making food.
I'm busting my butt. So y'all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember a story that was told. I don't know if it's a real story or a fake story, but it was a college professor was teaching on capitalism, and a lot of his students were trying to debate him on socialism. So he said, "All right, then the class is going to be socialist this semester. So whenever you guys take a test, I'm going to average out everyone's grades, and then that's the grade that everyone gets. So a lot of kids do really well, get 100s. Some kids get 50s and stuff, and then they average out, and it's like a 75. And then everyone realizes that they all like the people who are doing good realize that why should they be doing good if they're just going to get a lower grade, and the people who are doing bad realize that they don't really have to do anything because they're going to be bumped up by all the better people,
right?
And then every test just continuously got lower until like the entire class failed,
right?
So
boom, I was just about to say, as soon as you said, I was like, I ain't never heard of this, but it occurs to me like right away. As soon as you think about it for a second, you're like, well, why would you even try? So if everybody stops trying, the grades are going to go down.
Correct.
Yeah.
So now, and that's what you just said. That's exact, and that's what happens with socialist economies, countries all the time.
They go down.
Bingo.
They never can compete.
Yeah.
And there's a whole lot of, we can go deeper into it, like prices, for example. Prices have a lot to do with capitalism, and one of the reasons that socialism never succeeds is because they have no prices. They don't know they just give stuff arbitrary prices, like water, this needs to be affordable, so we're gonna make it 12 cents a bottle.
Oh yeah, little says 12 cents.
But the dudes that make water like, dude, we can't make this for 12 cents.
Yeah.
So there's never enough water because they can't produce it for 12 cents.
That's the bar. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we could go on forever about that. You said something, Tim, earlier about
trade jobs.
What made you bring that up?
Oh, because I'm thinking like nowadays trade jobs are getting really valuable because everyone's already going to college. I mean, like I think my opinion is like people who hire people are looking for like unique people, and back in the day not too many people was going to college, which is why it was unique.
Yes.
Now since going to college is basically the next step after high school, it's no longer unique. They're not really looking for it, so college degrees aren't really doing it. But like going to trade school, that's a constantly always needed thing, like plumbers and like technicians, mechanics. Those things are always constantly needed. So they're actually, and being that people are always going to college and not thinking about trade jobs are getting like
wide open.
Yeah. So which is why like they're being more readily available, getting paid more, and just doing better.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you said that, because y'all, I guess y'all are millennials.
Yes, indeed.
Right.
Well,
Quote unquote.
Are y'all millennials?
Generation Z, right?
I think we are the first year of Generation Z and the last year of millennials.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm
Millennial
Gen X.
Z.
Yeah.
Everybody was like,
Generation.
some chick at work was like, okay, boomer, that little,
Okay, boomer.
and I was like, she said, that's dope. And then like I wrote an email back. I was like, she said dope. And then she said, I was just like, oh, she said dope. Then, because, she's a Irish looking chick.
Oh,
you know what I'm
wow.
saying? So anyway, when she said dope, and I said, oh, you look at it, she's talking about dope. She gonna write me an email back talking about, okay, boomer. And then this other dude was like, me and him were about the same age. He was like, hashtag not a boomer. And then I said, hashtag Gen X invented the word dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but anyway, I forgot where I was going with that, but I thought it was
Good story.
Oh, because you guys are Gen Z.
Gen Z, yeah.
And what's that after millennials?
Yeah.
It's
Like-
96.
It's basically,
It's
yeah,
like
96.
96-ish.
Yeah.
A certain month.
96, 97, 98. That's
Yeah.
like debatable.
Okay. What's y'all's like defining characteristics of that generation?
That's
We
a
are
good one.
kind
That's
of
good.
too young to have a defining characteristic right now. Most of us are just turning like 20, 24. Like we're still kind of young. We haven't really had like been out in the field yet. We're just like most of us are just graduating high school. But I think people are trying to call us the silent generation because we haven't done anything yet. I don't think we are. I mean, I think part of the reason is that we're also always on social media and stuff, and we don't actually say anything like in real life. But I mean, we don't really have a defining characteristic yet. I mean, millennials is like their socialism and their like college. And
Yeah.
everyone thinks that they're having a bad time.
Yeah. I think I've heard that Gen Z is shaping up to be very conservative as a whole. Not every individual, but as a whole.
Right.
Maybe as a rebellion against that whole socialistic tendency of the millennials. Yeah.
Wow.
And like I know defining characteristic of my generation. I think me and my wife are the same. We're in the same cohort, they call it. And so Gen X, we're like kind of we're a nomad generation. Because what happened was during the time that I was growing up, man, that was when women were first moving out of the house, and the tax situation got to where you had to have two incomes.
Wow.
So this is like in the 70s. I was born in 73.
Okay.
So far back as I can remember, man, my mom and dad worked.
Yeah.
So even as early, and this sounds like people think I'm joking when I say this, I think in 1980, I was in the first grade. So 80 and 81, I was already getting myself up in the morning. My parents were at work, and they would lay my clothes out, and I had an alarm clock. So I'm first grade. Beep, beep, beep. Get up. I knew how to wash my face, brush my teeth, put my clothes on, get a Pop-Tart or something.
Oh, wow.
And I know when the big hand on the clock get to 6, that means it's 30 minutes after. I need to be at the bus stop.
Wow.
I would come home. They still be at work.
Yeah.
So I would chill, watch Thundercats, Transformers, something. You know what I'm saying?
Shouts out to them.
And then they would get home. I might get home at 3:30. They might get home at 5:36.
Yeah.
So I had very minimal parental involvement.
Wow.
Almost no super. I mean, all day in school, of course.
I was the same way.
How so?
Because my parents is at work all the time, and my brother and sister is older than me. So most days I woke up like you did and eat some breakfast, go to the bus stop, come home for a couple hours, and just do my homework and watch TV. So I see my parents from like 6 to 9 to the day. Most of the time is either just at school or at home, just chilling. So I was the same way, and I did miss school a lot of days like that because when you get older, you have it's kind of your choice now to go to school because your parents at work. So a good kid should go to school. But I was like, well, I guess I stay home today.
Yeah. You know what's so interesting? He's saying this is like we have like about we kind of lived in 3 different decades, kind of 4 really. So 90s, early 2000s, 2010s, and if you look at it, all of them had like their own thing. And growing up, my parents, it was like a working class situation. But my brother and my sister were more like, I'm trying to not work. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to live my dream or follow, go to college or follow this. So I'm in the middle. So I'm like, should I work? Or should I try to go to college and try to figure out what I want to do personally? And that's why I feel like we are so young. We can't see what happens yet. as far as our career or our dreams coming true. But at the same time, I feel like our characteristics are searching. Like we are searching for a better outlet than our parents, and also learning from the mistakes of our brothers and sisters that are older than us. And I think this social media age is interesting because I believe we are still young to use social media, but at the same time, we was there when it was created. So it was like we can kind of see like we did this for a reason, but y'all are misusing it. And I think that's where it's like it comes weird because we like literally more aware of how this generation is actually are using the things that we created. Like we are aware, like, okay, example would be, I remember Lil Wayne had dreads. Something simple. Dreads had been out for a while. Dreads, skateboarding, clothes, and stuff like that. But now people are wearing skirts and extra skinny jeans and stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
Back then, they used to have long white T-shirts. Remember that? Like long white tees. But now y'all you misusing it as a dress.
Oh yeah.
You know, back then our clothes used to be baggy, but now it's super tight.
Yeah.
So it's like we literally can identify that and identify this. So that's why it's kind of like silent, like what's going on? Because we're still trying to search like what's the medium.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's all of that to put. I just want to add that piece in there.
Yeah. That reminds me of the book. It's called The Fourth Turning. It's kind of it's kind of deep. You got me personally, I had to read it more than once. Matter of fact, I'm still kind of working on it. You know, I get on it a little bit, look at it.
Interesting.
All right, I'm gonna put that up, man. I gotta think about that.
You know
what I'm saying? But the whole point of this book is that human history is divided into 80-year periods called seculums. And those 80-year periods correspond to a long human lifespan. So about an 80-year-old person, that's a seculum. And what that represents is during that time frame, you have 4 generations that come of age. Every 20 years is a generation. And each one of those generations, like we call them Gen X, Gen Z, you know, millennials or whatever, they have different names for them. The prophet generation, nomads, and a couple more hero generation and a silent generation. And the very just supremely interesting is that's how cycles keep going. Because at the end, the fourth turning is a violent overthrow of society or a violent crumbling of society at the end of that 80-year period. So when you look back throughout history, World War I was at an 80-year period. Right before World War I was the Civil War. Right 80 years later was this war. If you go back that way, every 80 or so years, there's a major catastrophe or war or something like that that seems to just level society. And you got to start back over.
Like recycle.
So that's what that book is about, and how each generation contributes to that fourth turning and regrowing after. Because they have like roles that each generation roughly fits into.
You know I see what you're saying.
And like Trump right now is what they call a gray champion. And I call myself the gray champion because I got a gray beard, but I'm really not in that generation. So.
Okay.
But a gray champion is somebody that comes from the past
to
a current generation. They kind of don't fit, and yet they give a lot of strength and backbone and fire and impetus, whether it's good or bad. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
So I look at that in the just supremely interesting what you guys were saying, because it reminds me of how I've sat here and watched things go in cycles. Like what you was talking about. I remember 1986, 87, 88 when NWA came out with Police and all that, you know what I'm saying? And at that time, I was an athlete. I was in high school, walking around with our tracksuits on, and we just started sagging.
Oh wow! Out of nowhere,
just because it was like it's the thing to do. So that nobody had ever done that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we like
pull the pants down a little bit.
we walking around like we tough and stuff, and not even realizing it's that subtle influence coming off music videos and stuff like that.
Very subtle.
And then to see tight jeans now, I'm like,
yeah, it's impressive.
Exact opposite.
But tight jeans were still before in the 70s, right? Wasn't the jeans tighter before?
Well, yeah, much more conservative. Yeah, much more conservative times. All your clothes were well fitted.
Well fitted. Okay.
Yeah.
And I thought, like my grandma told me when she was a little girl, she said, "Y'all think y'all then came up with something." I ain't gonna use the language she said, but she's like, we used to call each other homeboy. And I was like, no, you didn't. She's like, yes, we did. And I've since looked at Cab Calloway and them and them other cats.
They say
saying the same slang.
Oh, wow.
In 1923 or something. You
Oh,
know
wow.
And then I look at haircuts nowadays, afros, boxes. Everybody's doing natural. I don't think too many people ever did natural. That's kind of a newer thing.
Yeah, a little bit newer.
Yeah. But when I see cats with boxes, I'm like,
yeah, you know that's straight.
Yeah, I was rocking that in '88. You know what I'm saying? I had a tight box. But no, it's just a trip, man.
It's fun.
It blows my mind how cycles do like that.
Yeah. I just think we find. This is why I feel like this is a. I'm trying to be the leader for the millennials. I'm trying to root for them.
So you a millennial?
I consider myself a millennial. I like that generation. I like the sound of it.
How old are you?
You can't pick what you is, Dustin.
I can.
What's the ages here? 20,
23 right here.
23 and
21.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight for
So
mine.
we about there.
Yeah, but like you said, I just want somebody to be able to notice it and change it and influence the cycle, right? So when you see it, like for example, history repeats itself. Like you're basically saying, history repeats itself after a while. So who's going to be aware or have enough awareness to say, we are in the middle of a cycle again.
Yeah.
Well, let's do something different. Learn from the mistakes or try to take it to another level. So if it does repeat, just let's make a repetition of something that's great. So let's make a stamp on something that we can be like, okay, I brung this, I injected this into the culture. So now this culture will forever be influenced by what I inject, and what I inject should be great. Not nothing already been created. Example would be NWA came in with something very gangster. To this day, people still talking about gangsteristic things.
Yeah.
So let's kind of take it from a different angle. So instead of bringing something gangster in, let's try to bring something more quote unquote positive or more lenient towards our faith and spirituality. So yeah, I just think that's what millennials need to do. It's just like, all right, we in the cycle now, let's bring something different to it.
What's your thoughts on that?
I agree. So
Cycles and stuff.
I agree. So like he said, so if things are going in a cycle, and so as long as it's a positive cycle, I'm cool with that. But once it start going towards the negative route, if we know it's going in a cycle, somebody need to be the one to step up and say, all right, we see how this ended. Let's not go that route. Let's make it go another way. So I agree.
That's what blows my mind. I hate to go back to socialism, but that's what blows my mind about socialism. Like, are people not do people not read?
Yeah, they
don't form themselves.
Not paying attention.
Like, every time you start getting into socialism, one of the big things they do is they deny the individual, the importance of the individual. They only concentrate on the importance of the group. Well, first of all, that's contrary for Black people. We are Martin Luther the King. He said the King. He said you gotta judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Now he said, no, you're Black, so you have to think this way, and you're a woman, so you have to think this way, and you're gay, so you have to be this way. And
wow,
like that's the exact opposite of all the progress we just made. You know
facts. No facts.
And then like when you look at socialism historically, what does that lead to? Groupthink.
Yeah.
Assign everybody to groups. Now it's the in group and the out group. Now it's Hitler. Now it's Jews. Now it's Armenians getting put to death by the millions.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
How many times
it's like, and they're like, well, that's because they did it wrong. That's what socialists think. They think, well, they didn't do it right. We smarter than those people and you, so we're gonna do it this way and it's gonna work this time. I'm like, no, it never works.
You'll make a smarter version of what was already been done that failed. So in other words, you're gonna think this is a good idea, and then we're gonna look back and be like, no, that was a dumb idea.
It failed even harder.
That's fine.
You know
Smarter way to fail.
Yeah, but I hate to keep dwelling on socialism.
But no,
it's all right.
I've been thinking about that a ton nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
It's a big topic.
It is a big topic.
It is. Y'all see those coins right there? Not the military coins, but
Man,
The other ones, y'all see.
you're looking rich right now, sir.
that right there is silver and gold. It's actual silver and gold.
I can touch it or no?
Yeah. Right. Grab it. Now I got them all taped up as a prop, so you can take off the top two.
Okay. Ooh, those are heavy. Ooh.
Original.
When did you get this?
This is I bought. These are a store of wealth. So a lot of people think money is the money we have in our pockets.
Oh, this is
money.
Yeah, this is when your dollar bill don't mean nothing. You can come somewhere with this.
That's actual
right, yeah.
value. The
Yeah,
store's
exactly.
value.
Yeah. A lot of times people don't educate themselves on what's real wealth. They look at dollars as real wealth.
So the reason I wanted to point that out is like that's one of the results of socialism. So
talk about it.
It's a cycle, a vicious cycle, because
That
now,
was good.
like millennials feel like it's so hard to make it. It's so hard to get out of their mom and daddy house. You know what I'm saying? It's so hard to do this, and they got so much college debt and all that.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that that's why they want the government to step in and give them stuff free. But they're not seeing the other side of that coin, which is very simple.
Clever.
The more you, thank you. I was trying to be clever there. What they missing is that there is nothing free.
Yeah, that's so true.
So when we get all these programs from the government, all they doing is printing money. Nowadays, they don't even print money.
They don't have.
They just put it in people's accounts. So like the Federal Reserve,
It's fake money.
will throw it in the Treasury, and the Treasury will give it to the student loan corporation.
No, seriously.
And like you get some money, but that money has no production behind it.
No.
And when it has no production, it has no value.
Other words, we get into debt.
Into debt, but it also it's like a secret hidden tax. It devalues your
that's
money.
good.
Values the
Yeah,
money.
that's even better. So try to even it out.
Yeah, so like back
Yeah,
I mentioned this on one of my episodes. Back when I was in college, man, like I said, 92, 93, the little jobs that we used to do, everybody on campus was a little capitalistic economy. So I had cats that used to cut hair. Everything was $2. So you can go to what was old dude named Squire and other cats that used to cut hair.
Yeah.
They cut hair, give them $2, get a nice cut, just like a barber. They were people that knew how to cut hair.
That's good. That's what you're saying.
$2. There's a dude named K-Dub, had a restaurant. He was a hotel management major. And he was like literally running a whole restaurant in the dorm. You walk over, place an order, and it wasn't $2. It was, it was capitalism. You got to pay for it.
Of course.
You got to replace the stuff. You got to,
However much
I used to
food
fix
costs.
cars. I used to write papers. I used to give people rides, taxi cab.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't say I used to write papers.
Too late now. You can say it. Go ahead and say it.
I only got 6 viewers, so
Stop.
I think we safe for right now. You know what I'm saying?
Stop.
But the whole point is, like, when I was back in them days, man, if you had $10 on a Friday night after class,
You good to go.
You good
like,
to go.
I was telling you that
Yeah.
earlier.
Good weekend,
please.
son.
You
I'm
flexing.
finna go get a 40, 99 cents. I'm finna go get a Whopper,
Whopper.
99 cents.
Some gas.
Gas is $1 or less
Uh-huh.
a gallon. I can get $10 worth of gas.
This guy.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna get $5 worth of gas. I'm gonna get me a Whopper, 2 40s,
240.
and go to the dollar
Man.
movies. I still got money left over for Saturday. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
The reason you can't do that nowadays is because of all the free stuff. The free stuff we get.
That's
Now
good.
$1 is not even worth $1.
Not even close.
From what I understand, back in when they took us off the gold standard till now, which is I think it was in the 30s, the dollar has lost 94% of its value.
Oh, so it's only 6 cents.
So $1 is worth 6 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That was good math.
Yeah.
I mean, 94.
I'm pretty good.
I would have been like, let me see. Carry the 7. Wait, there ain't no 7 in that. Where am I? But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all this free stuff you getting is what's making it hard for people to live.
You know, so I'm sorry to keep on
You
attacking the
Go,
situation.
no.
enlighten us. Enlighten
No,
us.
no enlightenment.
Enlighten
No
us.
enlightenment.
I took over the first half. You got it.
No enlightenment. But you're so right. I'm gonna tell you what this mindset of this generation is. Not like I know the whole generation.
Yeah.
Like I'm the spokesman, even though I
Of
sound
what you know. Of what you know.
But no, I think of this. I've seen someone be able to say, all right, I can make $100 million right now. That's a big number. I can make $100 million right now, and I can bring my people along with me. So now the people that they just brought along never had to work for the money that they just got. Now the mindset of the person who has that $100 million is now you don't have to be in a poor situation or a bad situation to create now. So the stress of you trying to make ends meet shouldn't be a problem. Now you can focus on making that money times 10 or whatever it is because you don't have that much worry or stress in your mind. So it kind of frees up your mind to be more creative and get that more that income. Right. So that's the mindset. But the problem is, like you said, we always looking for that person to take us out of that situation instead of being that person that can help somebody else out of that situation. You know what I mean? Instead of waiting for the handout, we're supposed to be that kind of a handout in a way, which is hard to kind of put that into someone's mind because it's like, there's going to be someone who's receiving, and I want to be the person who receives instead of the one who gives. That's just the feeling of humans. I want to receive something versus give. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, and that's a struggle, and like the struggle is the reason why you get like you make your millions.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't have the struggle, then there's no reason to make a million.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
once
another part to
if
it.
your
No
friend
motivation.
brings you there, then there's no reason to invent anything. You're already
Right,
there.
there.
And I heard this one theory about like the third generation, or like if like parents, like poor people's, like two poor parents have a child, and the child sees how poor their family is, so they decide to work really hard to make a lot of money, right? So they do that throughout their life, and they actually make a really good amount of money. And then when they have their kids, right, their kids are already there. They don't really need to struggle anything. So when they eventually do get out in life, they don't have the skills required, and they don't have the drive to stay like wealthy. And that's when they lose it, and then they become the poor parents. So, and then their kids again like see how poor they are there.
And then go up again and go back down.
And that's the cycle.
Okay.
That's a lot of people have commented on that.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I just agree with him. I had nothing to say. Just agree with him.
yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, let me shift gears a little bit here.
I'm sorry.
I got a couple of questions that I really want to get into.
Back on track. Back on track.
Nothing to do with socialism.
Socialism and economy and freedom. Right?
Nothing to do with freedom, and it's just interesting stuff I'll be interested in. But before we get to that question, I want to go. You young men are all men of faith.
Yes, sir.
Right? Amen. Yes,
God
indeed.
is good.
So, what I want to know is, do you guys in this generation, this 2020, being young college students and young working men, do you guys face any difficulties or discrimination or hardship or pressure being Christian men?
I don't know how to talk. I want y'all to go now.
Keep starting.
I'll go first. I'll say yes and no. When I first got saved, I seen that when you first get saved, you notice that you're different than most people. Most people, they look at you as you're weird, you're like an outcast. But now I'm starting to notice that the people are seeking something greater now because we're getting older now. People are experiencing. They learn the life they live is not what they thought it would be. So people are looking for something greater now, and we know we have found the greater. Amen. So now at first you feel like an outcast, but now our time's finally coming where people are seeking what we have. So now we came from being on the outside looking into the person they coming to. So I work with a lot of older dudes and they still not happy, and they like, you 21 years old, you making less money than us, but you got what we want. So life is coming back around like you said, going circles. So people are looking to us to help them to get to another level. So now it's still problems, but it's not like it used to be where you feel like an outcast anymore.
What do you keep saying about Kanye?
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, don't you usually say he's like the wave or something? Don't you know?
I don't know what I say, but I guess it's like the U.S. church turns like a start of a revival. So Kanye, he's on the outside and he found something, and that something is Jesus. And now that he has something, the people they looking at him like, if you can change, anybody can. So that's how you start something big, because people see that it actually does change you for the better. So they want what he got, and that's what we have as well.
I think it's interesting with Kanye too, how when he's making songs about the typical rap music stuff, he's so he's so cool, he's this, he's that. But then if he say Trump is good, he didn't lost his mind. He crazy than a month. Or all of a sudden he want to do some. I'm saved. I have a rally for Jesus. Now you're like, he done definitely lost his mind.
Yeah, right. It was like another level.
Like, he done fell off the whole table. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is that?
He was just making raps about like gangster stuff and all different kinds of not like good stuff. I don't know.
Good stuff, yeah.
Not good stuff.
Good life. That's the question. Or you want me to answer that question?
No. That was me wondering. But
ask it again.
What kind of pressures have you guys faced? What are the difficulties? Anything that you've noticed that's hard about being a Christian man in 2020, especially being a young Christian man? When you start getting old, you start getting scared of dying. So that's where you're
everybody want to go to heaven.
When you're young and embrace that is kind of different and interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's funny. The challenges. I would say the scariest part, or I'm not gonna say scary, but the part that's hard for us to grasp is that we are different.
Being okay with it too.
And being okay with it. So they say they're having fun. When I say they, the ones that are doing things that
turning up,
quote unquote, turning up. That's what they do. That don't mean that we have to do it. Coming to grips with that's the hardest part. That's just really the hardest part. Is just coming to grips that we are not going to be like the world, and the world looks very interesting because our flesh is drawn close to that. It says it in the scripture. So our flesh likes to go against God's will. You know what I mean? That's says in the scripture. So the point being is like, when we realize that that's the you know what I mean? That's the thing that we need to start to realize. So make it short and simple. I don't want to talk your heads off.
It is a challenge because nowadays, like, yes, we are different. We have different opinions, and there's a lot of opinions that, like, especially like going in like politics and stuff, like where like both sides are trying to like feel like they're getting further away from God, and when you're trying to bring everybody back, and they're like, oh, this is not what the population is going for nowadays. You feel like ostracized and stuff. So I mean, it is a challenge every day to like be a man of faith, but also try to accept all the like things that are happening nowadays.
It seems like it's a balance between faith and fun.
Yeah,
correct. The 2 F's.
Two F's.
The thing I learned though is I talk about him a lot. Being a young Christian, you have to get over the fear of missing out. Like he said, your friends seem like they're having a good time turning up, but once you get in tune with yourself and you get over that, it's a cool party. But yeah, it's cool. But what they doing? They doing drugs or smoking and drinking. That's something that we don't partake in. So once you get past the fear of missing out, that's when you can really advance and prosper in your faith.
I think the biggest thing, also another big thing, is that you see people who consider themselves Christian and they're doing everything that the world doing. Now you're saying he doing it, but if somewhere in my conviction, don't do it. But that person doing it, God's like, no, don't do it. So that's the hard part as well. Knowing, is it my flesh saying it, or is it my Holy Spirit saying that that's in me? And I believe that's the problem, that people are. I'm not gonna say scared to follow the Holy Spirit, but it's more easier to follow the flesh. And that's the thing where it's like, wow, people are so. A lot of those, I'm not gonna put Christians in that bad bag. People who people who say they are a Christian might do things that not Christ-like, as Kanye say, not Christ-like, not Christ-like, and they be like, I'm still a Christian, and then people will feel okay and be like, oh, you feel okay to still say you're a Christian and you're not doing things that's Christ-like. I believe people started to feel comfortable doing that. Yeah, I just think it's become comfortable because you see so many people do it, but they never seen a lot of people do the opposite and be like, I'm doing this and it's not, and it is Christ-like and it doesn't look like all the other people. They don't see a lot of that glorified on TV. So
yeah, and the thing is though, it's hard to, well, nobody can be perfect.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You constantly fail and slip and mess up. You know what I'm saying? Even when you're trying hard. And, matter of fact, it seems like when you're trying the hardest, that's when you fail the most. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know, man. It's have you guys ever heard of Jordan Peterson?
Jordan Peterson sounds like a cool name.
No,
he's a Canadian psychiatrist. He's a professor of psychiatry. Okay, so he's really a college professor.
Okay,
but he studies human nature and psychology and stuff.
All right,
and he was real big, blew up on YouTube because. Up in Canada, they passed this law that said you will say these transgender nouns, these pronouns.
Oh, you will
say.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like
Sir,
that.
Zim. What I don't know what. Zim the Invader. Ain't that a cartoon?
Yeah,
it is.
Go back.
So what it was he had actually looked at this law that they passed, and he's like, wait a minute, this law is not arbitrary and it's not voluntary. It says you will say this, or you could be sentenced to. There can be some repercussions because up there you can go to jail for stuff. In parts of Europe, England, Germany, you can go to jail for saying stuff that they hate speech.
Oh, ain't no Canada was that way. I thought Canada was the good part of North America.
We in America, man. We only know about what America is going on.
Well, the reason I brought him up is because he brought up a really good point. He's a man. He say some stuff to just blow your wig back. It's like, so one time he was talking about to this other guy about God, and people always thought he was an atheist, and he was like, I'm not an atheist. He said, well, do you believe in God? And he said, well, who would dare say they believe in God? Because if you believe in God, if you really think God is there, if you really think he is what we say he is, how far are you from meeting the mark? How close are you to eternal damnation?
That's good.
How miserably are you failing every second of? Who would dare say they believe in God? You know what I'm saying? We do believe in God, but when you realize the full weight and importance of what you're actually saying,
the seriousness,
you're like, I already failed this test. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
that's when the grace come into effect.
Yeah, I was about to say that's when. Yeah,
that's when Christ is the answer to that question.
Word. All right, so, I'm dying to get to this question, but. Before we do, I'm gonna get to the other questions. So you guys have anything that you wanna talk about? Anything that we didn't touch on? What's important to y'all?
I got one thing. The thing you just said about Canada, how they say you will say said transgender pronouns.
Yeah. That's
the thing. The one topic I was talking about, like it's a question when we ain't talking about the one problem we face today, and it's being forced to accept things that you don't agree with. So the same thing that they fighting us for is that they say. That they're making us to sell, we didn't do to them. Like let's say, like nowadays, you won't get a job if you're a celebrity and you speak against LGBTQ. So now they doing the same thing to us that they say we did, but we didn't do. Like let's say 10 years ago, if a person wasn't a Christian, you did not get a job because you was a Christian.
Yeah.
But the Christian boss will still hire you. But let's say you're a Christian and you're a pastor, and then somebody try to come to church and you're like, I'm not doing this. They try to shut you down, and this is what you believe. So they make us accept something, and if we don't accept it, they're not cool with it. But before in the past, we didn't accept like they accept what they did, but we didn't stop them from doing anything.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the people that they LGBTQ, whatever they may be, they calling other people intolerant.
Yeah.
But they are far more intolerant than those intolerant people ever were.
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to say.
Like
That's well put.
But that's deep. That's something that I want to talk more about. And
you said. I'll be quiet.
No, you got it. No, you was leaning. Go ahead. It's you. It's you, Destin. Look it up, Destin.
No, man, that's key, man. That's the issue right there. That's why we can't really move forward when you're not looking at yourself. You know what I mean? You're saying everybody else. Like you said something key. You know, when you point at something, there's three fingers pointing back at you. There's three fingers. That's what a lot of people do often. They point at everyone else instead of looking at themselves and be like, how do I look to everybody else? So those three fingers, how does that look when I point at them? Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's the problem for me. I just think a lot of times when we talk about people who are dealing with dealing with their sexuality, look at how it seems to other people who are not dealing with that. Or look at yourself and how can I say this? Look at yourself for the people who are dealing with that problem. Because some people who are dealing with that problem does it a different way or do it a different way. And I believe it's okay to be like, all right, I might be a little radical in certain areas, or I might be a little out there, but at the same time, you have to be able to be aware enough of yourself before you start to make any laws or judgment on any other people or any other person who's affected by that situation. I'm not saying much, but like I said, if
you said something,
it hurts though. It really does hurt to see people's unawareness of themselves in certain situations.
Like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a perspective thing because people really like to only talk about the things that they see themselves, where they ignore a lot of the things that other people deal with and stuff. I mean, because if you only ever grew up seeing one thing, and you're never really gonna know about the struggles of other people, or there's I'm sure there's people that are super rich and that say there's probably not a poverty problem, or people who are super who are in maybe even black communities that say that have a lot of racism and stuff and say that all white people are bad or something, where they never really lived in a multicultural area where there's plenty of people who the police are nice and everything. And it's really just a perspective thing, and not enough people are looking to what the other side is saying. You have to see, you have to both listen to, you have to because I love gaining knowledge, but I love gaining knowledge from both sides and both perspectives. I like to look at everyone's opinions and stuff, and actually try to come to my own conclusion based off of all of everyone's knowledge, and not just what I personally see and what I've personally gone through. Right. So I mean, that's something that I feel people lack a lot nowadays. Actually, trying to understand the person you're arguing against perspective.
Right. And it's not always a right or wrong thing sometimes. And I believe we make it's you're a bad person, I'm a good person, you're wrong, I'm right. It's not about that sometimes.
Yeah. And not only that, but it seems like nowadays when people have different opinions, they can't even be cool no more.
Yeah. Exactly.
The whole time that I've ever grown up, for example, hate speech. They want to label everybody else's speech as hate speech and call you a homophobe or a bigot or a racist or a xenophobic or Islamophobia. You know what I'm saying? Islamophobic, rather. And the thing to me is, when I was growing up, I was always taught in school. I remember getting taught this early on. It's I may totally disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it.
That's the point when we started in the beginning. Freedom, liberty.
Ain't it? The Ku Klux Klan. First of all, they're not even a problem. They hardly exist anymore.
Yo.
So I get sick of people talking about, oh, it's the Klan. Oh, you really? And if you're scared of the Klan, how you gonna be scared of the Klan if you think God is on your side? What are they gonna do?
How can you fair man when you have God on your side?
Yeah.
And then we do have the Second Amendment, so
They can say it.
you can say whatever they want to say as long as they keep it over there.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I ain't hurt nobody.
Right. But my thing is this: I totally disagree with what the Klan might say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I listen to them. Like,
But they still got a right to say it.
But guess what? This is a free
Yeah.
country. You can speak your mind. You can march in your parade. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you ain't hurting somebody.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's why I don't understand these people nowadays. Mostly, and they tend to be leftists, which is funny because when I was a kid, they were the rightists. It was the conservatives that was like the Christian conservatives. It was called the silent majority. I think it was called
The silent majority.
or I think it was a silent majority. They were the ones that was down with Reagan, and they was the one that, for example, started trying to put stickers on CDs. Well, we had cassettes back in the days.
Yeah.
That's when the sticker first came out.
Yeah.
Parental advisory.
And it's like, why are you putting this on? And it used to tick me off because they would put that on rap music, but not on like Def Leppard or somebody.
Yeah.
But
That
Def
was the
Leppard
issue, yeah.
with demons on their cover.
Literally.
Something
Witchcraft.
A lot of people. And I'm like,
Witchcraft.
Literally witchcraft.
Literally. And
I'd rather hear dude cuss
Right.
than mess with that. You know what I'm saying?
man. Bro, that's really one of the things I want to talk about. But
What's that?
Music in general. But
Go
no. But one thing I want to ask everyone around the table. You know, this is your platform, so you don't
go
have to
ahead.
answer it.
Of course I do. Discussion.
How do you feel about people outside of our race using the N word?
Ooh, and in general, yeah.
Yeah, in
Just
general.
cultural appropriation type thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
right.
if you see a white guy or come up to you and say, "What up, my N word?"
Yeah.
But also you see him say it to another white guy.
Where I'm from, that actually happened. My best friend in high school was a white boy. And he called me his N-word. Like he posted pictures on Facebook like me and but he said it in a friendly way. So the thing is though, we didn't look at it as a bad word. He didn't say it with the ER. So where I come from, we was cool enough for him to say it. He's my boy, I was his boy, so he said it as a friend way. He didn't say it in a down way. Yeah. So the more you let it have power in a negative way, the more power it's gonna have. But once you let it fade away, it don't mean what it used to mean back in the day. Because I was his and he was mine. Just like straight like that.
So you call him
yeah,
that?
I call him that. Like I text him like, "What's up, my?" Just like that.
I mean,
So where I'm from, it happened.
I mean, there's different ways to say it.
Yeah.
Right? There's
Yeah.
like different ways to say it. There's like the platonic like friend way that like black people say it in general, and that's how we expect each other to say it. And then there's like the like saying it as like an interjection that like it's not necessarily you're saying it to be mean, but not to be racist.
Not racist,
mean.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, like you're saying it as like a bad word, but not. It's like calling somebody dumb.
He not calling you it. He just saying it.
But and then there's like the third way where you're actually looking for a
racist.
black person,
Yeah.
calling them the N word, and you're being specifically racist. Like there's example like the first way is like Keith's friend just saying it like platonically like a friend because
what's up, my nigga?
it means like it means like brother or like something like that.
Yeah.
And then the second way like
Like these
or
N-words over there is going
These
like
thugs,
these like
uneducated.
like if
Sometimes it literally just means people.
yeah.
A lot of times when you say it,
Yeah, that's how we say it. If I call you my N word, can we say it or no?
yeah, you say it.
I'm
bro.
good.
If I call you my nigga, I'm like, what's up, my brother? Like he said, my
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah.
it's like that.
Yeah. If you say them niggas over there,
Yeah.
you just
Get
saying
free,
them
get
dudes
free.
over there.
There
You know
guys
what
over
I'm
there,
saying?
man.
Like the third way where you're actually like
Yeah.
looking to be racist, that like you're looking like specifically black people and not like just in any general like ignorant person. Like you're talking about black people are ignorant versus like just general ignorant people. Like then that's like the way I have a problem with. But I mean I don't really have.
So
too
you
much
cool with
of
a white dude saying what's up, my nigga?
Yeah, I mean like if he's. Generally, if he's saying it in like a platonic, friendly way, I mean, I'm not gonna like lynch him or like.
Oh wow! What about that one? Right? How about you?
I'm not gonna kill him for it.
Yeah. Well, my rule of thumb that I've kind of lived by really for about 20-something years now. Ever since I was an adult, was I don't say it in mixed company. And I don't say it outside the house. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what I'm learning.
I
I'm
only
learning.
say it towards like my
If-
brothers.
If me and my boys chilling in the house, having a drink, watching the game, whatever, or whatever. If you say it like that, and we all black, we close. That's one thing. But I don't leave it open for any confusion outside the house. So, and also I try to be a gentleman and a Christian. So I fail, but I try not to use rough language or what I would call uncultured language, uncivilized language in general public.
I agree with that.
Uncultured language.
And I remember in 2003 or something like that.
That's a good year.
Was it? What happened?
Yeah. I'm gonna just say 50 Cent dropped. 50 Cent
Speaking
came.
N-words.
That's a
You're a
good one.
wankster.
That's a bar, right? Okay. That's a great song.
So there was this cat named Maddox. I never forget. I don't know how I remember that. I ain't seen that cat since then almost. And he was a cool white dude.
That's how my friend was.
But he one of them white dudes. I'm like, you blacker than me, Doc.
Doc.
Got
I don't even
got on the fresh Jordans.
like Doc. I don't even wear now. I do, but I don't even wear them little hats like that, little feelers and like you a hip hop video. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you? But yet you white. And he came over the house one time. He's like, "Yeah, what's up, my name?"
He said it cool too, didn't he?
He said it cool.
Said it cool.
I was
But you
like,
had to look.
I was like, "Hey, man, if we're gonna be cool, we're gonna be friends. That's one thing. But I prefer you don't use that language.
Wow. Okay.
Because that ain't cool.
See, that's how I am now. But back, I was in high school before. I was like 14, 15. I didn't think about it as deeply.
Yeah.
Now, if I had a white homeboy, I'd probably tell him what you said now. But when I was younger, I was so used to it, it didn't bother me. But now I know the power that word has in history. So now I would check in the way you did. Like, yo, I'd rather you not. So that's how I feel now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's off topic.
Oh no.
I'll come to it next.
Okay. So actually, I was at the basketball court. This was happened like a couple days ago. No names involved, no snitching, right? Not joking, but no. So it was like a mixed crowd. So funny, a mixed crowd, and there's like a Asian dude and a white dude, and they both are using the N word amongst black company.
Wow.
They're younger than us, and younger than us, I guess, but younger than us. So it was so funny to me. I'm like, this is how the generation view the N word, and I can't be mad at that because one
loses power.
One, they're celebrities, they're icons, they're idols, they're legends. Are using the word.
I was gonna say we did it.
Yeah, we did it.
Rap did it.
Yeah, so now it's like, why can I not use it? As far as a white person, like, why can I not use it? And they don't probably not even educate themselves on that word, but it's the point of it being used in front of them is like, y'all saying it in front of me, y'all must don't have no boundaries to it. So.
And with that, like I was talking about, like the three ways to say it, and like the second way is part of like music. Like, can a white person recite lyrics of music if they can say every other word in like cursing and everything? Would they have to like bleep out the one word that like because it happened at a Kendrick Lamar thing, concert where he brought some people up from the crowd to like rap his song. And it just happened to be a white girl who was rapping, and like
he got on it, didn't he?
He got on her,
Funny
it's weird. And it's like it's the second form. It's not like brotherly or anything. It's not like, and it's also definitely not like mean, and it's just saying
she's literally quoting your words,
your word, and now you condemning her because of
right. That's just like back when I was coming up. The whole controversy on it was Mark Twain, Huckleberry Finn, I guess, Nigger Jim. Could he say that? I was like, dude. You're reading a book. You're not calling anybody the word.
You're not. That's
you're reading a quote in a book.
That's the point, man, where you become sensitive to certain things and not look at where is it coming from.
Yeah. When I used to sack groceries when I was in college.
Oh, wow.
High
Really?
school.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
This brother man right here is making a lot of money in college. Just to let you know, this guy had like 18 jobs and all of them is paid.
I was broke than a mug in college. That's why I was always doing something.
No, continue. I'm sorry.
So I'm sacking groceries one day, man. This old white dude, man. He was ancient. Looked like the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner or something. You know what I'm saying? He come up in, he could barely walk. And he was saying something to me. I'm sacking his groceries, and he's like, yeah, and the bar, you know how you talking to and the niggers down the street was doing certain
Lord.
And I'm sacking, and I looked at him.
And
I'm thinking and listening. And I realized he had no idea that was offensive. He did not direct it toward me.
Yeah.
He was telling a story about something
that's all he
reminded him of, and that's what he called him when they was kids. When he was a kid.
That sounds good.
Because the dude like 89 years old. You know what I'm saying?
That's his reality.
In 1990, whatever it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's his reality.
I'm like, I was thinking, why he didn't even realize he just said that. He did not realize that it was offensive. Yeah. He just said it like the kids down the street.
Yeah.
Basically, right.
But do you think he would have called white people those niggers down the street?
No, of course not.
No.
But I mean, but he to him, the word was just a
Negroes.
The way it was.
Yeah,
Negroes.
that's how you say black to him.
That's how you refer to black people.
So do you
so
think
true.
in that situation, I'm pretty sure you didn't say anything to him, right? But do you think he should be educated because he's still alive? So someone tell him say black people.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you somebody that care about it might say, "Hey, Grandpa."
But-
yeah, we don't say that no more.
That's
If you say that now, you might get whooped. So
That's
Yeah.
the same thing with the things happening now, calling people Zer and stuff.
Yeah.
Educating people on calling people what they
Okay.
want to be
Oh, I
called
didn't think about it that way.
in general.
Yeah, it
I
is.
mean, that's the same type of thing. Like people call people certain things.
Yeah.
and
So
trying
you
to change
comparing?
it.
All right. So you saying the same way the old man calling us niggers is the same way if a person that's transgender would be called a boy that want to be called a girl, so I got to call her she now because they changed the name.
Nah, I'm not saying. I don't know. In a similar vein, calling somebody something they don't want to be called, where it used to be something completely normal.
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause another thing that I heard is that Native Americans or Indians
Don't like being called Native
actually you prefer to be called Indian because it actually because the Native American thing is new and it's new to them and like it's like when you're talking about Indians, it's like where they're like the North American type of Indians and you're talking about, whereas the Native Americans is like a PC type of thing, and they're like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Kinda whack.
It's not exactly what we chose because we didn't choose the.
We gave him that name.
I don't even like saying African American. It's like, nah, I didn't.
So we just
American like
black
that.
folks,
Yeah, like that.
Americans, black Americans.
Actually, I was talking that with a friend. I got a friend from Nigeria, and actually, we are in a weird situation. They call us African Americans because basically, like the Americans, they didn't want us no more. But actually, the people in Africa, they don't claim us either.
No.
So we actually are like orphans.
Yeah.
Because Africans don't claim us, and Americans don't claim us. So we African Americans, but
couple
really
of
we
them that's
neither.
like
Well, we're Americans now, but none of them really claim us at all.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I
Yeah.
like
Yeah, trying to change
Yeah.
what somebody used to call you.
Yeah.
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 I had a poem that I read on one of my episodes here, and I said that when I was young, we used to dance in these house parties, and we used to wear these little fake silk dashikis and stuff. And I
wow,
said
yeah.
that's like a symbol of Black history's true meaning. These fake dashikis are a symbol of what Africa really means, because although we originated in Africa,
It's just a symbol.
it has nothing to do with us anymore,
Yeah.
as far as I can
That's
tell.
nothing.
Yeah.
And I said,
It's just a skin color.
I said, and then I went on to say, we ain't them, and
They
they
not
look
us.
down on us.
Yeah.
Because many of the Africans I've talked to,
Man.
I'm like, man, y'all are y'all
They don't like us.
They don't
like
like
racism too much. Y'all
Yeah.
just, you know what I'm saying?
There's not too many people in this world that like black people.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny part about it, man, is just that after a while, we have to kind of be like, man, we need to stop trying to fit into a certain group. And like you said, we need to start worrying about the individual, or like the individual matter. Because I'm African American, or because I'm black, or because I'm African, doesn't really mean, I'm not saying much, but being aware that you're black is one, but being African American is something different to me. So I just think when you become a person who based your life, like I remember, like you say, back in the days, not my back in the days, but just watching, studying that time period, like in the 90s, like people who used to speak in Swahili or wear dashikis, they would consider conscious because they knew where they came from. Where they came from, they go back to the roots. But going back to the roots, knowing where you came from, doesn't mean that that's who you are now, because you did research and now you know some things. For example, I can do research about the Ireland, or people who are Irish or something like that. Hopefully I'm not sounding crazy. But that don't mean I'm Irish now, because I did research on that. That's how far removed we really are from our ancestors, really. Because I do research on them doesn't mean that I'm automatically connected. A lot of times people forget that back in Africa, where we originally from, language was different, culture was different, traditions was different. The things that we was taught as far as family structure were different, economics were different, everything was different. So what we stand on right now, they don't even stand on it right now. So, our principles of human, like, we are different, completely different people, but they don't look at it that way. They just look at it, they're black, and they're cool. So instead of doing the whole research, but that's besides the point.
So that reminds me. That just makes me think of are black people trying to culturally appropriate their own culture or their African culture or something? Because nowadays, I mean, you hear a lot about cultural appropriation, where like, a Caucasian person can't wear a natively
I don't get that.
a natively Chinese dress.
Yeah.
And for no real apparent reason other than that it originated in China, so white people can't wear it, or like
that's ignorant to me.
Yeah, or like you know, Halloween costumes can't represent Indians or Native Americans, or like.
But so how do you feel about that? Do you?
I mean, I don't personally mind. Like the thing about me is I like the spreading of knowledge and just I mean, when other cultures want to learn about other cultures and they do it in an appropriate way, I am completely fine with that. I mean, there's different types of ways culture is shared. There's like imperialism, where like your culture is forced upon another person. There's actual cultural appropriation, where somebody's culture is actually stolen from them. And then there's what's happening here, which is not cultural appropriation or imperialism. It's like cultural mixing.
I call it culture vultures. Look at me.
Where they're like we're not like losing anything. We're like mixing in like black, like when like a white person wears dreads, like we're not losing anything. I doubt it. I mean, I feel like it's just we're becoming a more unified world where like cultures are like, because like nowadays like lots of people watch anime, which is a Japanese thing, but that's not a appropriation of that of their culture.
I just think the issue is when people like not bashing Elvis, y'all. But Elvis comes with rock and roll and be like, Elvis is the rock and roll, even though he got it from Jackie Robinson. I said Jackie Robinson. That's a whole football. That's a whole baseball player.
That's a baseball.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
Yeah, we get what you're saying though.
No,
people like Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry.
A lot of people
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson. No, hopefully he didn't get it from me. But look, hey, homie, he was making hits, right? But
there you go.
That's the thing. So I just think people take certain things and then give the credit for it. That's the issue.
That's the issue. They get credit.
That's a whole other thing than appropriating somebody's culture. Like, but like I used to Miles Davis, as you can see.
Yeah, Miles Davis
is one of my boys, and I read I can't remember if it was his biography or his autobiography. It was probably, I don't know. The point is, I read a story of his life, one of the two, and he was very upset about how, him and his boys, Train and Cannonball, Adderley Bird, and them, they would be in these clubs in Harlem, back in like the 40s or 50s or whatever it was. They be inventing new stuff right on the spot. Yeah, this is jazz. This is the first time jazz is starting to blow up, coming from New Orleans back in about the 20s, on up to about the 40s and 50s. It starts maturing. They in these clubs just like literally freestyling jazz right on the spot. And he would say he would look out in the audience and he'd see a bunch of white jazz musicians that he would know. Now they couldn't go to white jazz clubs, but they would come to Harlem and go to black jazz clubs.
Correct,
and take it national
and be taking notes like a mug on this.
Mental notes. Oh, that's a nice little chord.
He couldn't even get a record deal because they weren't hiring. They wouldn't, give a record deal as a black artist. Yeah. So the white dude would get a record deal, go uptown, play a watered down version of what he just played, and get a record deal,
and make millions.
And so, I can understand how that would tick you off. But then again, it goes back to is an idea copyrightable?
Yeah, it's yours. Like you said, somebody else is going to take that same idea and turn it into something completely 100 times better. I look at people literally being inspired by something and making it better. Yeah. I can be inspired by Michael Jordan. If I come here and start dropping 40 points a game, thank you, Michael Jordan. Yeah. But you inspired me to do something. Right. Now, your idea of to do a fadeaway this way, I might have added that to my game. But me executing it is something completely different than your original idea. That's something that you can't, like you said, copyright the way that I execute it. Yeah. That's something that is only I can, like it goes back to the free liberty for me to actually, or liberty of me actually doing it. So,
yeah. Go ahead.
Are you saying dreads are owned by black people or not?
And here's the thing. The people like the Picts, P-I-C-T-S, Picts, and the former Scottish, Anglo-Saxons, not really Anglo-Saxons, but I think they were Scottish or something like that. And there were other people out throughout Europe, Vikings too, I think, wore their hair like that.
Yeah.
Pirates probably had never seen a black person at that time. We talking about 10 AD. Like 1095 AD or something. You know what I'm saying? They haven't even sailed to Africa yet. They haven't even seen us yet. Yeah. But it was they were wild, ferocious people, I guess. And, you know what I'm saying? They roll their hair up in little braids, and then you don't comb your hair for a long time. Next thing, it gets matted.
You get naughty,
and boom. So it's like, and the other thing about that whole quote, the cultural appropriation, as far as I can tell, it's made to take power. Yeah. It's made to take free speech because it makes no sense whatsoever that, well, first of all, people don't usually emulate things that they think are stupid.
Yeah, they like it. They show support.
So when they look at your Chinese geisha girl dress, they like, that is dope.
That's a
I'm
fantastic
gonna wear that,
dress.
son. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna take that and wear
Well,
it.
I'm sure they probably wouldn't say it like that, but they go, oh, I really admire that. Son.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with dreads. It's the same thing with the N word.
Yeah.
They liking that culture, that
They
street
like the
culture,
culture.
and they like
Brother.
one up. Yeah. Like, and people say like the Washington Redskins and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
right.
I'm like,
yeah, that's interesting.
they're not saying that because they think Redskins is bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that
tough.
because these were ferocious warriors,
Yeah.
and that's what we want to emulate.
Yeah.
So it's
I
not no
never thought
intent
about it
there.
that
You know
way
what I'm
before.
saying? So I think it's just nonsense. It's just it's a way designed to keep you quiet and scared to talk.
Mhm.
Divide,
Express
division.
yourself.
It's, it's silent ways division.
Mm-hmm. So, gentlemen, we've been going for a while. I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up, but
What's
I
up?
want to ask that question that I've been
Holding on to.
holding on. Yeah, thank you. I've been holding on to. I've been
Good
holding
stuff.
it back close to the vest. I'm gonna put it out there. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just because I'm curious. So the question is that have you ever had any kind of supernatural experience? And it could be something that proved God existed to you, or it could be something that was like not God. It was like, whoa, yo, what was that, son? Have you ever? Who's ever had a? And if you don't mind, tell us about it.
I mean, me personally, I don't think I have, but my dad has had plenty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he literally knew who his wife was, or my mother, like well before he even was in the same state as her.
Wow.
Like God would literally give him dreams and visions about like what she would look like, and like her first like three and her initials of her first, middle, and last name, right? And he didn't get like a perfect clear picture of what she looked like, but he would always know like her three initials. So like he would like always be thinking and judging like women off of that until he finally did like find her, and towards a similar time of that, like he was dating another girl who had very similar initials but not quite, and then as soon as he found her, he was like, wow, this is the girl that I'm gonna marry, and he's with her now for like today, and it's still like 25 years or something. Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
I need that.
Yeah.
I need what his dad had.
I wish I had it too. I wish I had
Make it
it.
a lot easier. Let me go.
Anybody got one?
Mine was actually recent. It's in church you call it prophetic. I was thinking one day, and I can say it's God now. I had a vision that it's gonna be a revival happening with the youth, people our age. So God is starting something new, but it's not with a 40 or 50-year-old pastor. It's gonna be led by 21, 22, 23-year-olds. Then I had this thought, and I told my friend, and I was like, I don't want to say it's God because I'm not sure. So I'm gonna say it's a thought I got. Then we had a prophet come to our church, and it was our pastor, Bishop Abraham Shanklin, and he said a revival is happening and it's gonna be led by you guys, the youth. He said people like me will be in the background helping you guys, but the people that's gonna reach the nations is you, is the young people. So that's to me that's supernatural because it's a thought I had from God and I wasn't sure about, somebody else had. So like sometimes supernatural thing gotta be something big, but it can be something just as small as that. Cause this small thought I had, it got seconded by a person that I esteem in the faith. So that's gonna change millions. So that's a supernatural thing. It's something that God put on you. He showed somebody else to give you the confidence and the assurance to walk in it. So that's supernatural to me. Yeah.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah.
That is deep. Sorry, I had to bring the darkness into my supernatural experience. So my cousin was well, how can I say this? Got the root, I guess you can say, put on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So witchcraft
It's real.
So when you say it's real, then there's another level of connection out
If
there.
you believe in God, you must believe in the other one as well.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good.
This level looks good.
So that's the good part. So good part is that we know that God exists because there is evil sources.
Yeah.
So you have to have a balance, right? In the universe. So anyways, long story short, my cousin was and this is how I know that God the balance out of the situation. So he's in this I guess you could say possessed state, and he's very out of it. He's not aware of what he's doing at this moment. As a kid, I was about, let's say, I'm gonna give you our range from 7 to 11. Not the store. 7 to 11. So anyways, at this point, I'm like, let me go outside and play with my cousin. He's out here. He's literally like,
It was a kid possessed?
no, he's like 20,
okay.
18. No, he's like 18 at the time. And we used to play basketball. He's my cousin, so we used to play basketball. And he's literally looking at where I was at, where I lived at. We had like a woods and like in front of our building. and like a playground in the middle. So just think of it like a playground and then like the woods. He's literally just staring out in the woods, not moving. I'm like, oh, he's my cousin out there, not realizing he's just staring out the woods. That's kind of odd. But anyway, so I'm like, let me go out there and play with him. But my parents and my brother were really close to him. He already knew that something was going on with him, and that something strange happened. So they told me, no, don't go out there. Long story short, my another cousin. Black people have all the cousins in the world. My other cousin came, right, and he said he saw my cousin, and he said something was wrong because I said, "What's up?" I'm not gonna put his name out there. I said, "What's up?" And then this is his story. But this is what I'm going to say what I witnessed, but this is his story, so you can add on to the story. He kind of like transported, like floated, levitated from down the hallway to where he was at and spoke in some demonic words, like in distorted words. And my cousin just immediately ran to my house, like any human being would. Anyway, so long story short, so he told my mom what's going on, and we was like, all right, we need to get somebody here to pray. Lucky enough, my grandmother, the prayer warrior that she is, was literally in the same floor in the same building. We was an apartment building, so we was like, all right, we had to somehow get him to my grandmother. And then my other cousin, can't make the story up. I do have another cousin, actually my youth pastor. He came in and actually prayed for him. So my grandmother called him to pray for him and stuff like that. And after a while, he calmed down and got settled. And like you said, come to find out, something was put over his life and things like that. So that is just a small supernatural thing, but I've seen so much. It's just that there's too much evidence that God exists. And if that's not enough, if someone said, I never had that experience, so I need experience for myself, Romans, it says that you look around, the evidence is here that God exists. So this how the world is actually positioned to the sun. That's a supernatural way. Or the moon, how is it positioned with the earth? That's supernatural. The way the trees are, a living and dying thing is supernatural. So everything around us is supernatural. But just for me, as a particular situation and moment, that was kind of interesting.
And also the thing about supernatural is science can try to prove everything. Because like with a lot of stories, a good scientist can make everything seem natural. Because I have a lot of things happen to me in life that could be considered supernatural. Because I remember as a kid with my grandma, she we used to sit on the back porch. We used to see a cross in the moon. Yeah. So that's supernatural. But somebody can explain a tree branch that was in front of the light shining, this screen or something. So you could try to explain anything. Yeah. And then so I seen the cross on the moon. That's one. And then another one. I mean, my grandma, she's living in an old house. And she's a real spiritual. She's a real spiritual lady. She's a pastor now, and she say she see angels all the time. She talked to her angel, like her guardian angel, because we got angels guarding watching us. And one day it was me, my sister, and my brother, and we all it was just like angels all around the house. And she always used to say, I got my angels protecting me and this and that. She's always telling us, don't cuss and talk crazy because we make her angels leave the house. One day we actually seen the angels. Like we was like I was like probably like 4 or 5. So we was young, and like everywhere you walk in the house, you just see like an angel that guarding the doors, and everywhere you go you see angels. So this is supernatural. I was a kid, so I was like, I'm just dreaming or something. But then like a couple years later, I was like, did I ever see angels in your house? And my sister's like, yeah, we seen angels in grandma's house a couple times. Like so this is supernatural. Like it's like it's small things. You can say we kids, we dreaming, they'll be just imagining things. But my grandma always said she got angels protecting her and all that. And then one day we all seen it. So things that we just think is just jibber jabbering people talking, but it really exists. And sometimes it can be a story like this and that's scary. But also it can be a story like mine where you got angels protecting you from, so you don't become the kid floating to another room. So stuff I heard.
That's a trip.
It's so true, man. Kids, I know this from my personal experience. I'm not trying to make this show 3 hours, but it's just so true, man. Kids literally are
they're sensitive.
They're sensitive to the spirit, and that's why it's actually an album called Kids See Ghosts.
Yeah.
So
Kids See Ghosts, yeah. Kid Cudi.
Yep, Kid Cudi. Yeah. So the point of it is like literally everyone is like, you think about some of the kids' drawings, they literally be saying like, this is what I saw last night, Mom, and they be seeing some outlandish figures. I'm like, that's not my fault. That's not your fault. That's not so because they're sensitive to something that we, as far as adults, kind of become numb to. Yeah. I think we just become like, we are not allowed to basically believe or see anything that's not scientifically proven or logical into the mind. If it's not logical, I feel like our brain's kind of like, nah, it's not logical.
Your brain trying to explain it.
Yeah, your brain is kind of, but the kids is like, imagine like they imagine so much, and the mind is so acceptable to anything that they can see and pick up anything. And that's how I was as a kid. So that whole situation, I mean, as a kid, I'm like, okay, you know, I'm okay with anything that was told to me. I'm like, okay, cool, okay. Now, so that's why I feel like it's just so amazing that when the Bible also talking about, you know, if you hurt one of my child, you know, one of my children, one of these little kids right here, you know, cast yourself into the sea. Long story short, because they see something, they know something, they are hearing me, and if you mess up with this, it's something that just you need to, you know, start to think about. Like, come on, don't do that. Because
that remind me of that movie. Oh man, I can't think of what it's called. It was a father and his family living in his house, and the son eventually got paralyzed, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. He went into a coma. He was unresponsive, and they never were looking at the drawings that he was drawing when he was alive.
Yeah,
when he was, before he went into this.
I think I've seen it. It's like 2000 something.
Yeah, it's a early 2000, mid 2000s, and what it was he was a traveler. He could travel outside his body.
Insidious.
Insidious. That is a great movie.
It's scary, y'all.
Scary. It's scary. Y'all seen that?
You know,
so man, just what you saying, the drawings on the wall.
I seen it.
When he's sitting there in a coma in his hospital bed in his room, they got it all set up like a hospital. And his dad was sitting there. They couldn't figure out what's going on. No doctor could figure it out. And they brought in some supernatural people.
He's a dream traveler.
He looked, and he's a person that could fly in his dreams. His soul could project. His astral projection could come out of his body. And come to find out, the father could do that when
Back
he was
in the
young,
day.
but he kind of blocked it out. But he started looking at the actual drawings on his kid's wall, and it was...
Speaking of scary movies.
I know. What was that? Some kids outside doing something, flying out their body one. But basically, he had drawn himself as a superhero. Flying. And then he also drew like other people trying to get close to him while he was flying. And he was looking at these pictures like, dude, he told us everything.
Exactly.
I'm gonna tell you my quick little supernatural experience.
I'm ready, hold on.
Let me strap you in.
It ain't scary. This was kind of it's kind of uplifting in a way, I guess. I don't know. But years ago, when I was first joined the Air Force, this is 98, 97 or 98.
Well, that's some good years too.
Yeah, good years. I agree. At this point, though, I was going through a rough patch in a relationship. I had a long distance girlfriend that was my quote fiance, and that's what that mistake that everybody makes when you join the military. You get engaged to somebody.
Yeah, don't do that.
Live off
military.
Get you a home.
Come back home with a new kid that you didn't make. Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. So me and her trying to make this long distance relationship work, and it's not working. It's terrible. And I'm like stressed out and sad and everything, and I'm drinking too much. So I'm literally sitting at this bar in Monterey, California. Actually, it was Seaside, California, right on the coast there. It's called the Oak Tree Lounge. So I'm every day. It's like noon. I'm up in there drinking already. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Sipping Kool-Aid, right?
I'm like going through these problems, these changes, man. I'm just depressed and sad, far away from everybody I ever knew. She way over here. I'm way over here. My family way over there. Long story short, man, I'm sitting there chilling. It's nobody in the bar. It's like me.
Oh, wow.
Like this dude over here. You know, them old drunk dudes. He over there drunk. There's another dude drunk. And it's me.
Yeah, sir.
I'm like 25. You know, I'm sitting there drowning in my sorrows. There's nobody else in the bar.
Okay.
Door opens. I look over my shoulder. It's this bag lady. Like a crackhead bag lady looking chick. Funky. A lot of, literally like a lot of plastic bags and stuff hooked all on her. Wow. She walking in. I think she had a cart or something. She was pushing something, I want to say. I can't remember clearly. Wow. But I looked at her and I said, something said, she gonna sit right by me. Even though this bar is empty,
she'll come next to you.
I just know she gonna sit right here. And she did. I was like,
take a no sip.
Really? You come sit right by me?
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk to nobody. Why you? Yeah, I can't tell her to move, right? So I'm like, oh, whatever, man. I'm drinking. And she nudged me. I was like, see, this the bull.
This is what I was talking about.
I looked at her. She was like, she had a book. And she, in them bags or whatever, she's like digging. She pulled out a book and said, I thought she said something, but I'm looking back. I don't think she actually ever said nothing to me. But she was like, and she turned it over on the back. I'm like, read this. And I read it, and it said, do you believe in God? It said, do you have a deep question in your heart? I'm paraphrasing, but it's like a deep question in your heart that you need to ask him that you are dying to know the answer to. And I was like, Yes, I do. And he said, well, why don't you ask him? And if you ask him with all your heart, soul, body, and mind, basically, he will answer you. And it won't be no crazy answer. It'll be now, and you will know what he said. This is kind of what it was saying.
Yeah.
I'm reading that. I'm like, okay. And then she said, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna ask him then. Since you busting it like that, you know. So I didn't like say it out loud, but in my mind, I said, Lord, can me and this chick, my so-called fiance at the time, can we make it?
Instantly said no.
Now, she walked away so after I did that, and after she did that, she went in the bathroom. I don't know what she did. She walked off in the back somewhere with all them bags. I was like, I'm like, all right, whatever. See, that's what I'm talking about. And about the time I put my drink back down, took another sip, the jukebox came on out of nowhere, because nobody put nothing in it, because it's only me and these two dudes.
Yeah.
She gone, the bartender right there. The jukebox just came on, and it hit a couple of notes, and it was a song by Sly and the Family Song. So it said, burn, 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 burn. You can make it if you try. That was the first, like, literally the first word. And I was like,
yeah.
Wait a minute. I just said, can we make it?
Yeah.
And the song, like, not even 5 seconds later, came on out of nowhere and said, you can make it if you try. And we didn't try hard enough, because we didn't make it. But the point is, that answer, the book said, ask a question now with all your heart. He will answer it immediately. That exactly happened.
That happens.
Wow, that's impressive.
And so that shows that he's there.
Yes.
That shows that we didn't try, because I have my beautiful wife over here running the camera.
Amen.
I know.
Props.
For real. Thank God.
No, seriously. Thank God. No,
but yeah. So anyway, I don't know. There's supernatural. There's more to this life than you can see.
Yes, more than we can see. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's called faith. Believing that it's there.
Indeed.
And you can't see it.
Indeed. Anybody got anything they want to add before we wrap up?
Can I ask a question, then we can leave it at the end of the question? Or no?
We can ask a question, and we can,
I never asked. Well, was that I guess that how you got saved? Is that how you came to a relationship?
No.
How do you get saved?
I got saved, man. My Aunt Barbara had me accept Jesus. She's a minister. She's a real holy.
Lay hands on you, didn't she?
No, she lay hands. I was like 8, and she was like, yeah, she was like, would you like to accept Jesus into your heart? And I was like, yeah, let's do that.
Why not?
So we did it, and then she said she thought, he just a kid. He just said it because I said so. Which then she said, like, a few days later, I came back and I was like, Aunt Barbara, do you think Jesus mind if I play video games? she was like, no, he don't mind. But she said, I did the right thing, because he definitely knows what he did, and he is thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? He is wondering, like, because if he says no, then I guess I can't play video games. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember that, but she's explaining it to me.
That's a good question.
So yeah, it was that was like 82, 80, something like that, 83.
That's what's up. That's just an interesting story.
Yeah. How'd you accept?
Oh yeah. Okay. So like I said, a lot of interesting stuff was going around me as you hear about that story. Yeah. And it goes back to my family always was connected to Christ. So as a kid, I've always been connected to Christ. But really living it out for myself was, I believe it was a sanctification process. So from the point where I can say I accepted Jesus Christ just by a family prayer or things like that, you know, and I'm just accepting him as my Lord and Savior, when I used to be scared and I used to go to my grandma, it's like, why am I scared? Why am I fearing? All you need to do, Lord, basically, God is not a God of fear. So once you accept Christ, you know, you would not have any fear. So accepting him as my Lord and Savior, and then continue to grow out my life. And I'm talking about, I was like 6 years old. So until then, it was just me continue to grow in my faith. So I was not like a one moment where I was like, oh, I'm automatically saved, but it was just in a place of fear, in a place of uncertainty on how I can get joy and peace in a scary situation, that I just relied on the Lord. And then as time goes, you mature in the world, but at the same time, God is still there since you already accepted that and established that relationship. So yeah.
Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I go. I got like 2. Like him, I was like 6 or 7, and I just been in church my whole life. So I decided, I was like, I want to get saved. But that's just like the first time I got saved. But I was young. I really didn't understand the fullness of what I was doing. But then later on, by 10 years later, I was about 15 or 16, And I just and my grandma got her own church, and I was helping her out. I was just helping being a good grandchild. And then like I just kept feeling a call for something different, like because I remember all my friends in school, they skipped school, smoked weed, and I never wanted to do none of that stuff. I never had a desire to do it, and I just always felt the call to be different. I guess to be I hate to be so cliche, but like a leader of a generation. So I was like, I can't lead people to something if I don't do it myself. So I decided I wanted to rededicate myself and become serious about the spiritual thing of Jesus Christ. So that's how mine came from, helping my grandma and seeing like it's like a family thing we do. But feeling for myself like a call to be greater, to be different. So that's how mine came along. It was like just being there. Then eventually from being there, I tap into it myself. So that's why I see the value of the Bible said, train the child up in the way they should go, and they would not depart when they get old. I was for 15 years I just was going to church. That's what I do. I even got saved just because that's what we do. But eventually one day, hopefully something clicked and you like, this is what God got me here for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna tell us about yours?
A little bit. It's pretty similar. I mean, I don't know. I grew up with my family being consistently in church like the entire life, like
Every Sunday.
Yeah.
Every Sunday. So I mean, I eventually, when I was young, stepped up to the plate. But I mean, I was like going off of my parents' faith for like most of the time after I was like 8 till I was like kind of an adult, and until like I don't know, when I was like 17, 18, I decided to actually like, well, maybe a little younger, decided to actually like start looking into it myself, so I can like understand for myself, which is where I am like now. Like, well, I mean, I'm like fully committed, and I've got baptized like when I was later on in life, because my parents didn't want me to get baptized without fully being in it for myself.
That's smart.
Yeah.
And now I got baptized like shortly after. I mean, I looked into a lot, and then I got baptized, and I was really into it, and I was openly a man of faith, and that's essentially how I became like a full Christian like I am today.
Right. Did you get baptized at New Life?
I did. So it was within the last 5-6 years.
Oh, word. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys stopping by.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate
It's my pleasure, man.
Lovely being on this podcast. Super fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
We was here for 10 hours, y'all.
10
hours straight rolling.
Yeah. But that's the beauty of it, man. From what I understand, people have an appetite for this long form conversation. People,
yes, sir.
People like to listen. Yeah, this was definitely an interesting conversation to me. So
touched a lot of topics.
Man, that's a blessing. Man.
I love intellectual conversations. Yeah. That's like probably my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. Word. Me too, actually. As you can tell, that's why I started a podcast.
That's facts.
Yeah. But hey, everybody, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Our guests today have been the men of Next Gen. And I want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming and stopping by. We got Tim, we got Destin, and we got KJ right here. These cats are real cool in church, and I knew it was going to be a good conversation, you know what I'm saying? So I'm glad they came, glad y'all listened. Hope it was entertaining. Hope you got something out of it. I hope that some of the stuff we talked about touches your life. I'm sure it touched my life, and I hope it touched y'all's life too.
Yes,
you know
sir,
what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
We might set y'all up to come back again. If y'all
really?
be down with it. Yeah.
I've been looking forward to it.
Now this time we getting ready to move, so we're gonna be further away.
I got y'all. You know, I hate
We're going to travel.
Yeah, I
Get a road trip.
Road trip.
Oh, man.
It ain't gonna be that bad, but it's about an hour away.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks again for coming by. Thank y'all for listening. Check me out at the northstarpodcast.com. You can look on Apple Podcasts. I'm on there. Search for North Star Podcast, but put Robert Jenkins with it too, because there's a couple of other cats out there that use my name.
Yeah, Jack in the
This is the official.
Even though they had it first, I thought about it a long time ago.
They try to debo you, man. They try to. I'm like,
Got
exactly.
intellectual property there.
Right. I'm on Twitter at Northstar_Rob, and of course YouTube. You can look at my channel on there, North Star Podcast. You guys on social media? Y'all want anybody to hit you up?
No, but I want to tell you guys, we have our youth group Next Gen every Tuesday from about 7:30 to 9. So come out every Tuesday 7:30 to 9. It's 1331 Ashton Road, Suite F.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the exact
Hanover.
address. Come join us, and then join us Sunday morning, 11 a.m. for a family worship. Everybody's invited.
Ain't that right? 1331 Ashton Road,
Yes,
Hanover, Maryland.
hand over.
Oh, also we have one at 12th Street over in Laurel.
yes,
Oh,
Laurel,
yeah.
Maryland. Yes,
Yeah.
Laurel.
Saturdays
So
at
2nd Street, yeah.
7.
Saturdays at 7. Yeah. And we got spoken word. What is it? The last Saturday.
The last
of the
Saturday
month?
every month.
Yeah.
At the doors open at 6:30 last Saturday every month in our Laurel location. So come out and join us. Spoken words, songs, anything you do that's a talent.
Yes, sir.
Come on, and show us what you got.
No judging. I'm totally
judging.
supportive of it. They even let my old butt get up there and say something. You know what I'm saying?
And he killed it.
I killed something. You know what I'm saying? Oh. But hey, once again, y'all, thanks for tuning in. And as always, as we close here, I want to bid y'all 2 digits.